Today, we're diving into a story of radical transformation. I mean, it all hinges on this one single life-altering decision that was made on what was supposed to be the happiest day of a young man's life.
So we're marking the disappearance day of Śrī Rāmacandra Kavirāja. But here's the thing. In the spiritual tradition he's from, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, this isn't a sad day at all. It's actually seen in a completely different light. You see, a disappearance day isn't about loss. It's thought of as the moment a great soul finishes their time here on earth and enters into the eternal divine play of the spiritual world. It's actually a celebration of their life and, really, their ultimate destination.
Which, of course, brings us to the man himself. He was a son, a brilliant scholar, a poet, and, for a very, very brief moment, a husband. But his story isn't really defined by any of those things. It's defined by what he chose to become.
And believe it or not, this whole thing kicks off on his wedding day. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, but this moment was the pivot point for his entire life.
So just try to picture this. Ramacandra, who is this super talented doctor and poet from a really well-known family, is in his own wedding procession. He's just gotten married, his new bride is right there with him, and they just happen to pass by the home of this famous spiritual teacher, Srinivasa Acharya. And as the party goes by, Srinivasa Acharya says this to his followers. Just wow. Now, he's not speaking literally, of course. He's using this really powerful metaphor for a life of just material attachment, which he saw as a kind of spiritual death. And the key thing is, Ramakunda hears every single word. You know, the most incredible part of this story is just how fast everything happened. I mean, most people hearing something like that might get confused or maybe even angry, but for Ramacandra, it was like a switch flipped. It was an instant awakening. He got the deeper meaning right away, sent his new bride back to her family, and just completely surrendered himself at the feet of Srinivasa Acharya.
That single decision put him on a totally new path. He basically renounced the entire life he was born into and completely embraced the life of a devotee.
And you could see this new life pretty clearly. He got initiated by Srinivasa Acharya, he adopted all the visible signs of a Vaishnava devotee, and he just dedicated himself to chanting. He also formed this deep, unbreakable friendship with another famous saint, Narottama Dāsa Ṭhākura.
But, you know, a path like this is never without its challenges. His own grandfather was a Sakta. That's a tradition focused on worshipping personalities like the god Shiva. So when they confronted him about it, Ramacandra didn't even flinch. His answer just shows how deep his understanding was. He basically said, look, by worshipping Krishna, who's the source of everything, all the other divine personalities are taken care of automatically. It's like watering the root of a tree. You don't have to water every single leaf.
Well, pretty soon, his spiritual journey became a physical one. With the blessings of the saints in Bengal, he started this long pilgrimage to Vṛndāvana, which is, the sacred land at the very heart of Krishna devotion. This wasn't just a vacation. This was a rite of passage, a journey to go and learn from the top spiritual minds of the time.
And in Vṛndāvana, his natural talent for poetry just exploded in this new spiritual way. The great saints there were so moved by his beautiful poems about Krishna that they gave him the title Kavirāja, which literally means king of poets. And that's the name we all remember him by today.
So after being transformed himself, Ramacandra Kavirāja then became this powerful force of transformation for other people. His influence just spread, both through his words and his own incredible example. And maybe the most amazing example of his influence is the story of his own brother. His brother was literally on his deathbed, and prayers to all these other celestial beings were doing nothing. Ramacandra convinced him to just focus solely on Krishna. And the result? It was miraculous. His brother was cured and actually went on to become a famous poet himself, known as Govinda Dasa Kavirāja. So, as the king of poets, he left behind a pretty amazing literary legacy. And these weren't just poems for the sake of poetry, they were deep theological works, like spiritual roadmaps, all designed to help devotees in their meditation and deepen their understanding of divine love.
So why are we still talking about his stories centuries later? I think it really comes down to his absolute, unwavering commitment and the profound friendships that he built along his spiritual path.
He spent his last days back in Vṛndāvana, the very place that had named him the king of poets. And his passing wasn't filled with despair. It was one of deep meditation, totally focused on the divine and on the spiritual masters he was longing to join again. And in this, we see the real meaning of a disappearance day. It's not an end, it's a final, sacred entrance.
And this right here might be the ultimate testament to his character. His closest friend, the great saint Narottama Dāsa Ṭhākura, actually made Ramacandra's association a key part of his own personal prayers. That just shows you how vital and inspiring his presence must have been. Their friendship is truly legendary.
So, in the end, the story of Śrī Rāmacandra Kavirāja leaves us all with this pretty powerful question. It really challenges us to think about those moments in our own lives that demand a choice. And it shows us that a single, clear moment of awakening can absolutely redefine an entire destiny.